Controversial, but sometimes it's good for things to look a little bit older. They have the little toggle switch on them, which I call a nipple switch. I've got a couple of, here's Tilly. Caveman had the urge to decorate their cave walls. You can have modern day living, but with that historical feel. So hello and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be showing you 6 ways to add historic charm to a modern house. So number 1 is wall lights. Now historically, older houses tended not to have overhead central lighting. They certainly didn't have spotlights. If they were a grander house, particularly in Georgian and Victorian times, and indeed going back into Tudor times with palaces, then you may have had a big sort of candelabra, which would have had candles in it. But most often than not, a historic house would only really have a wall light in the sense of a sconce. Now these would have originally candles in, and then as time evolved be gas or oil lamps, which would be lit by a taper. Not only do they add a historic feature, but they also add that lovely side lit historical glow. Overhead lighting can be very harsh, particularly on the complexion. And if you do have it, because often houses do come with it and you might not want to spend money changing it, it's really good to put them on a dimmer switch. And you can get really lovely historical looking wall lights, like we have in the Snug, which actually look like old candle holders. So number 2 is changing your sockets and switches. Now a lot of modern houses and new builds have those white plastic sockets and switches, as indeed do in fact a lot of period properties that have been changed over the years. But it's not a difficult thing to do. It can be quite inexpensive, and just changing the sockets and switches, particularly to an antique brass, can really give that old kind of country house or historic house feel to a room. You can get many different sorts of finishes. I would recommend antique brass. Some are a bit more chromier, some are slightly thicker, which sometimes works better for slightly more kind of papery walls. These ones are quite thin and they are actual brass plates, which are from Corson architecture. What I like about these is they have the little toggle switch on them, which I call a nipple switch, but they are technically called a toggle switch. What's really interesting nowadays with these new kind of historic style sockets and switches is that you can have them adapted to modern life. And that just means that you can have modern day living, but with that historical feel. Number 3 for adding historical features to a modern house is changing the doorknobs. A lot of modern builds have quite big, chunky, sort of chrome silvery doorknobs put on them, or just white plastic ones, which immediately again gives away the age of the house. If you change the doorknobs to something like this one, which is called a beehive, it's not actually an antique doorknob, it's in the style of an antique one. I've got a couple of antique brass ones which I found out and about, and you can also get some lovely ceramic ones sometimes, which were very popular in the Victorian days. It's quite difficult to find them all matching, so sometimes if you want to have different ones and different doors, that's really nice. Again, you can find them in antique markets or antique shops. I changed them all to these beehive ones. So they've got an antique brass base plate, which goes really nicely with the antique switches, and they're just a brilliant way to make a modern door look old. So number 4 is painting the woodwork. Now, when I say this, I mean painting the skirtings, painting the doors, and painting the stairs. The staircase looks really modern because it has these brass modern spindles. And I did initially want to change those, but that would have cost a fortune. So I had a long, hard think, and I thought if I painted the woodwork surrounding the spindles, it will kind of tone down the metal aspect of it and actually make it feel like an older staircase, which has been here a bit longer than, let's say, 20 years. And I chose Green Smoke by Farrow & Ball, and I painted the treads, the upsides, the balustrades. Then I carried the green around the skirting and onto the doors, which all the doors on the ground floor are painted in this lovely green smoke. And then for the front door, I chose this lovely burgundy colour, which is Pall Mall by Fenwick and Tilbert. Adding historic colours to a modern house immediately makes it feel old. And so you actually have a modern staircase, which is probably 20 years old, look like it's been here a lot longer. So number 5 in adding historic charm to a modern house is wall coverings. Now this is a goodie. This can either be done with paneling, like we have here, or with wallpaper. Now historically, we have been decorating our walls for thousands of years. Caveman had the urge to decorate their cave walls with lovely little drawings. The Egyptians decorated their walls with the most incredible colours and images and motifs. So it is something that is actually intrinsically human in us to want to decorate our walls. Wallpaper came back when the sort of cost of everything slightly lessened after the war. And since then it has been around a lot. And it's a really easy and lovely way of adding historical charm to a modern house. Now the other thing is paneling. This is not real paneling. This is sort of an MDF stuck on paneling, and then we've got the beaded paneling in the snug and the bedroom. Now you can buy wooden paneling and it is more expensive, or you can buy faux paneling such as this, which is then painted and looks like it is original paneling. And it's a really easy way of adding features to a room. And then with wallpaper, it is just so lovely and so pretty, and I have it in my bathroom. And I tell you what, it just makes a massive difference. Once you've got the wallpaper on, it adds a little bit of character to what was a very boring room. And what I've done in the bathroom is I've tiled halfway up, so I haven't had to spend a huge amount of money on the wallpaper. So I've got the tiling and then I've got the wallpaper above. And that's quite a good thing also if you're a bit nervous about wallpaper, because if you're worried it's going to be a bit overbearing, you could potentially panel halfway up and then wallpaper, or you could, in let's say a bathroom, tile, or a kitchen, tile halfway up and then have the wallpaper. Also, you could sort of make your own wallpaper by painting murals on a wall, which is a really lovely way of adding historic charm to a property if you've got the time and you are artistically inclined. And finally, number 6 in 6 ways to add historic charm to a modern house is rugs and runners. Modern houses, one of the giveaway signs is often, especially developers, they like to put big, thick modern carpets wall to wall, which some people think would be more expensive, but actually it's much cheaper than them investing in nice floorboards or tiling. And also, often when period properties have been sort of renovated over the years, people have just shoved carpets in. And if you have got a period property and you're wanting to demodernise it, always lift the carpet up and see what's underneath, because most of the time there will be some lovely floorboards underneath there, or even lovely tiling, especially in Victorian properties. And with the floorboards, if you want to have floorboards, you can get amazing reclaimed floorboards. You can get them from salvage yards, often like old schools have renovations and they get rid of their old wooden floors, or you can get them from modern companies like Haverwoods, who do very good looking engineered floorboards which look like traditional floorboards. Even places like IKEA do really good floorboards. We were quite lucky with this house in the sense that it's got engineered wood floorboarding everywhere. It does look a bit modern, but a way of making it look older is just adding nice antique rugs. And I've also got some modern rugs, but I've got sheepskin at the end of the bed, and I've got these sort of sisal looking rugs which have got a nice colour trim. Very simple, very chic, just a simple way of layering textures. In the olden days, they used to put rugs on top of rugs on top of rugs, again for insulation, but also it just gives that nice old English eclectic feel. Our staircase, as you know, is a modern staircase. Beforehand, it had this big, thick, grey modern carpet, which just really made it look modern. So I took that off, I painted it, and as a bit of a signature of mine on all my projects, I put these sisal runners, a bit like this rug, and then add a little bit of colour. So on the front stairs, we've got the orange trim. It's called titanium sisal as well. So unlike traditional sisal, which stain quite badly, the titanium sisal, you can spill water on it or get mud on it and you can easily wipe it. It's a nice way of bringing a bit of colour, but really nice texture, a bit like jute rugs as well. There's lots of jute rugs available on the high street. And then in antique fairs and charity shops and antique markets, you can get some really beautiful old rugs inexpensively, like lovely keylims and floral rugs, which were around in the 70s and the 80s, which had a bit of character and texture and pattern. And that is a really simple and a lot of the time pretty inexpensive way of adding historic features. So I hope you've enjoyed 6 ways to add historic charm to a modern house. Gracie's bought me some socks, so I think she enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe here or here, or here. Subscribe on the socks.